Welcome back. If this is your first time here on this channel and you experience any kind of issues with playback, please check out the link in the description to my mirrored account on BitChute.com, redpill_McKenzie. Now, in today's video, we're picking up where we left off. We're now in week 4 plus of January 2019 with the high-level resignations. Talking CEOs, CFOs, COOs, heads of state, police chiefs, you name it. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's a new week until we catch up. But real quick, where do I get the names from? I get it from a site called resignation.info, maintained by Resignation Anon. And well, despite the meme I just showed you, there are actually a lot of good people on this list. Not everyone on this list is a bad person. We've seen a bunch of those, but even still, not everyone's going to be indicted. Go ahead, check out the link to the indictments if that's something you haven't seen. There's also a little feature where you can report resignations. Anything not on the list since September 2017, or if it's just brand new, go ahead, put the link to that news article in there, submit it. Once it's been verified, it'll be added to the list. Now get this, if it's new and it's notable, chances are you're going to see it on the next resignation show. Every other Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. German time, with the next show being on April 28th, and it's hosted on a channel called In Real Life News. I'll put the link to their channel in the description, or if you're hanging out on the website anyway, you can go to the Resignation Show tab and link up with In Real Life News or catch up with any of the shows you may have missed along the way. But now that that's taken care of, let's get to the names. We have a diplomat to the U.S. State Department in the U.S., A. Wes Mitchell. We have these two directors to Yuzu Networks Group Corporation in Singapore. Pause if you need to read those names. We have the CEO to Kier Group PLC in the UK, Hayden Mersell. We have the CEO and president to Editas Medicine in the US, Katrine Bosley. We have the CEO and chairman to Renault in France, Carlos Ghosn. We have the CEO and president to USG Corporation in the US, Jennifer F. Scanlon. We have a director to Acadia Healthcare in the US, Chris Gordon. We have the CEO and president to Itron Inc. in the US, Philip Mezzi, retired. We have the CEO and president to Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce in Georgia, Dan Kaufman, retired. We have the COO to Goldman Sachs in the US, Justin Gimlick, retired. We have the Chief Credit Officer to Huntington Bankshares in the U.S., Dan Newmeyer, retired. We have the CEO to We Energies in the U.S., Gail Klappa. He resigned, but he remains as the chairman to that company. We have the CEO to Jupiter Asset Management in the U.K., Martine Slindebroek. He resigns, replaced by Andrew Formica. We have the CEO and president to Nexia Health Technologies Inc. in Canada, Sam Chabib. He resigns, replaced by Asmin Daya. We have the CEO to Plated in the U.S., Josh Hicks. We have a secretary to BHP Group Limited in Australia, Margaret Taylor. She was replaced by Carolyn Cox, and she was also replaced by Carolyn Cox in her position as secretary to BHP Group PLC in Australia. We have the chief to Hobbs Police Department in New Mexico, Chris McCall, retired. We have the CEO to Liquid Telecom SA in Zambia, Martin Masham Badope. He resigns, replaced by Susan Mkandawire Malikita. We have the CEO, my best attempt. We have the CEO to Iceland Seafood International in Iceland, Helgi Anton Eriksson. He resigns, replaced by Jarni Armanson. We have the CEO to the Sand Group PLC in the US, Dean Godwin. He retired. We have the CEO to Ergomed PLC in the UK, Stephen Stamp. He resigned due to health reasons. We have the CEO and president to Aztec Energies in the US, Ben Brock. We have the CEO to Jewish Family and Children's Service in the US, Rima Zelfand. We have the chairman to Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, also known as the CBCF, to the U.S., Sheila Jackson Lee. She was recently named in a lawsuit alleging that she unlawfully fired a young woman who planned to pursue legal action against the CBCF. We have the CEO to Imperial Logistics International BV and Co. KG in Germany, Marius Swain Poel. He retired and is replaced by Mohamed Akuji. We have the chairman to Arca Continental in Mexico, Manuel Barajan Morales, retired. We have the CEO to Food Standards Agency in the UK, Jason Feeney, retired. We have the CEO and we have the CFO to MCT BHD in Malaysia. Pause if you need to read those names. We have the CEO to First Heritage Federal Credit Union in the U.S., Daniel Rourke. He retired and was replaced by Thomas Pisano. We have the CEO to Wells Fargo Asset Management in the U.S., Christy Mitchum. She resigned and went off to be CEO at BMO Global Asset Management. We have the CFO and VP to PTC Inc. in the U.S., Andrew Miller. He retired. We have the Chief Medical Officer to University of Tennessee Medical Center in the U.S., Jerry Epps, retired. We have the VP to Stanford University in California, David Demarest, retired. We have the VP to Neiman Marcus in the U.S., Neva Hall, retired. We have a federal judge to the U.S., Timothy Greeley, retired. We have the CEO to Eskom Pension and Provident Fund in South Africa, Nopasika Lila. We have the CEO to Piedmont Athens Regional Medical Center in Georgia, Charles Peck. We have the CEO to EY Switzerland in Switzerland, Marcel Stalder. We have the CEO and President, and we have the Chief of Staff to Naples Community Hospital System in Florida. Pause if you need to read those. We have the CEO and President to United Way of the Coastal Bend in Texas, Katrina Wilson, retired. We have the CEO to New York Racing Association in the U.S., Chris Kay. He resigned. He was forced to resign due to violating association policy. We have the CEO to Health Forward Foundation in Kansas, Bridget McCandless, retired. We have the CEO and we have Director to Rimfire Pacific Mining in Australia. Both of them retired. Pause if you need to read those. We have the CEO to Eastspring Investments in China, Guy Strapp. He retired and was replaced by Y. Kwang Sek. We have the CEO to Travel Tech Limited in the United Arab Emirates, Kenny Picken, retired. We have the Secretary of State to Florida in the U.S., Michael Ertel. He resigned after Halloween blackface photos emerged. We have the CFO to Teradyne Inc. in the U.S., Gregory R. Beecher, retired. We have the CEO to Heritage Bank of Commerce in the U.S., Walter Kagsmarek, retired, and he also retired from the Heritage Commerce Corporation as the CEO and President. We have the CEO to Pittsburgh Three Rivers Marathon Inc. in Pennsylvania, Patrice Matamoros. We have the CEO to BMW Reach Now in Germany, Steve Banfield. We have the CEO and Director to Qatar Reinsurance Company Limited in Qatar, Gunther Sake. We have the CEO to Po.et in the U.S., Gerard Dicker. He resigned and was replaced by David Turner and went off to be VP at Washington Post. We have the President to St. Augustine's University in North Carolina, Everett Ward, retired. We have the Commissioner to Texas Higher Education Commission in the U.S., Raymond A. Paredes. We have the CEO to Beeline Uzbekistan, Dmitry Shukov. He resigned and was replaced by Sergei Afonin. We have the CEO and President to Nextera Energy Resources LLC in the U.S., Armando Pimentel. He retired and was replaced by John Ketchum. We have the Chairman and the President to the Container Store Inc. in the U.S., they're Kip and Sharon Tyndall. They both retired. We have the CEO and President to Tetra Laval Group in Switzerland, Dennis Johnson. He resigned and was replaced by Adolfo Orive. We have the co-CEO to Half Yard Productions LLC in the U.S., Abby Greensfelder, a co-CEO. We have the Chief Product Officer and Founder to SoundCloud in Germany, Eric Walforce. We have the CEO Mail and Retail to Bpost in Belgium, Kurt Pureloot. We have a Sergeant to Elmira Police Department in New York, Joseph W. Morone, retired. We have the Director to Coloban Water in Australia, Jeff Rigby. He resigned and went off to work for Western Water. We have the CEO to St. Joseph Health in Sonoma County in California, Todd Salness. We have a board member to South Florida Water Management District in the U.S., Rick Barber. We have the CEO and President to Sandoval Economic Alliance in New Mexico, Steve Jenkins. We have the Chief Justice to the Supreme Court of North Carolina in the U.S., Mark Martin. He resigned and went off to be dean somewhere. We have the Chief Legal Officer to Apple Hospitality REIT, REIT Inc. in the U.S., David Buckley, retired. We have the ambassador to China in Canada, John McCollum, retired. Fired. He was fired, to be clear. Continuing. We have the head to World Zionist Organization in Austria, Eli Cohen. We have the CEO to Guess Inc. in the US, Victor Herrero. We have the CEO to Singapore Sports Hub in Singapore, Boon Jin Tech. We have the COO and we have the CFO to Singapore Sports Hub, also in Singapore. Pause if you need to read those. We have the CEO and we have the director to African Battery Metals PLC in the UK. Pause if you need to read those. We have the CEO to Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America in the US, Paul Rekoff. We have the COO and the CFO to Eastspring Investments in China. Pause if you need to read those. We have the CEO to Platform Specialty Products in the US, Rakesh Sachdev. He retired. We have the president to University of Vermont Medical Center in the US, Eileen Whalen, retired. We have the CEO and president to Infinisys Inc. in the US, Richard Holtz. He retired but remains the chairman, and his CEO and president positions were replaced by Tom Stender. We have the CFO to Sanmina Corporation in the US, David Anderson, retired. We have a judge to the United Nations International Court of Justice in the Netherlands, Christophe Fluge. We have the CEO to ABSA Group in South Africa, Maria Ramos, retired. We have the CEO to Partners Healthcare in the US, David Torchiana, retired. We have the CEO to Union National Bank in the United Arab Emirates, Mohammed Nasser Abdeen, retired. We have the director to Titan Limited in India, Baksar Bhatt, retired. We have the president to Kettering Health Network in the US, Roy Chu, retired. We have the CEO and president to ProWest and Associates in the US, Annette Thoreau. She retired and was replaced by Candice Sharon Broich. We have the CEO and president to Reshape Life Sciences in the US, Dan Gladney. We have the CEO and president to the leading hotels of the world in the US, Ted Ting. We have the CEO to Coyote in Ireland, Fergal Leamy. We have the CEO to Pandora AS in Denmark, Roger Lynch. He resigned and went off to be CEO to Condé Nast. We have the CEO to Marketing NG Limited in the UK, Brendan Moffat. He resigned and went off to be director at the University of Derby. We have the Prime Minister to the Palestinian government in Palestine, Rami al-Hamdallah. The whole government also resigned. We have the President and Chief Merchandising Officer to Neiman Marcus in the US, Jim Gold. We have Director General to State Environmental Service in Latvia, Inga Koligova. We have the CEO to B&G Foods Inc. in the US, Robert Cantwell, retired. We have the CEO and President to Samsung Electronics in the US, Tim Baxter, retired. We have a priest to the Vatican, Herman Griesler. He handled sex abuse cases and quit after being accused of sexual abuse by a former nun. We have the CEO and president of Riverside Community Hospital in California, Patrick Brilliant, retired. We have the CEO to Lanza Group AG in Switzerland, Richard Rittinger. He retired and was replaced by Mark Funk. We have the CIO to Kroger in the US, Chris Helm. He retired and was replaced by Yael Kosik. We have the CEO to Commvault Systems Inc. in the US, Bob Hammer, retired. We have the CEO and we have the chairman to Melbourne University Publishing in Australia. Pause if you need to read those names. They resigned over concerns about loss of editorial independence, as did these 4 board members. The only difference here is that Donnie Gorog, his term was also ending. We have the CEO to Forklift Truck Association in the US, Peter Harvey. We have the chairman to South Florida Water Management District in the US, Federico Fernandez. We have the CEO and president to Indigo in Indiana, Michael A. Terry. We have the CEO to City Year in the US, Michael Brown. We have the CEO to Randstad NV in the US, Linda Galipeau. We have the CEO to TV2 in Denmark, Marie Eldrup. We have the CEO to SI Group Inc. in the US, Frank Bozich. He resigned and went off to be CEO and president at Trinseo. We have the CEO to SAS IT in the US, Phil Martin. We have the chief to Montgomery County Police Department in Maryland, Tom Manger, retired. We have the industry minister to the Thailand government, Uttama Savayana. He resigned after months of criticism that they were using their my fault. This and the next following positions from the Thailand government. They all resigned due to all of them using their positions to favor their Palang Prakarath party, and it's a newly formed party. They held key positions there, and I guess it was a whole conflict of interest thing. So the industry minister, the science and technology minister Suvit Mansiansi, the commerce minister Santri Rat S, and the minister in the prime minister's office, Kopsak Putra Kul, all of them resigned due to that conflict of interest. We have the general counsel to Penn State Health in Pennsylvania, Mark Faulkner, retired. We have the CEO to AO World in the UK, Steve Concy. He resigned and was replaced by John Roberts. We have the CEO to Irvia in Ireland, Mark Quinn. We have the CEO to Halal Food Authority in the UK, Saqib Mohammed. We have the CEO to Norfolk and Norwich University Hospital NHS Foundation Trust in the UK, Mark Davies. We have the CEO to Devore India Limited in India, Sunil Dugal. He resigned and was replaced by Mohit Malhotra. We have the CEO to Hermes Europe in Germany, Carol Walker. She retired. We have the CFO to Symantec Corporation in the US, Nicolas Noviello. We have the CEO to Parks and Retail Group Limited in Malaysia, Sean Chong Sui Hyong. We have the CFO to Tesla Inc. in the US, Deepak Ahuja. He resigned and is replaced by Zach Kirkhorn. We have the COO to WNS Limited in the US, Ronald Gillette. He resigned and is replaced by Gautam Barai. We have a director to the Walton Family Foundation in the US, Kyle Peterson. We have a board member to Two Hands Corporation in the US, Brandon Milner. And we have a producer to KDKA in the US, Michael Telek. He was fired after he aired a Chiron that called the New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady a quote known cheater, as you can see in that graphic right there. Anyway, that's it. That's it for this week. Don't forget, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's a new week until we catch up. And in real life news, link up with them so you catch the next Resignation show on April 28th. And as always, if you like my content, go ahead, please share, because sharing's caring. And if you haven't already yet, go ahead, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. That way YouTube has no choice of what kind of content of mine. At least we can try. And what kind of content of mine you get to see. I hope you enjoyed it. I love you all. God bless you all. This is Red Pill McKenzie.